This morning, we bring to you a special interview. An interview with Paul Beardsley of the ASRU. That's American Service Rep Union. Now, many of you might not be familiar with the term service rep. Well, today's interview, we hope to expound on that term and let you understand this new trend that's happening across America. Paul, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing good, Phil. I just got back from a tent revival. It's kind of hot out there, so it's been a long week, but I'm good. I'm good.
So, Paul, why don't we just tell the folks, what exactly is a service rep?
Well, that's a good question, Phil. And to answer that question, you really have to get into the mind of what it is that goes on during a service. The conflict between the congregation and the pastor. A conflict of time.
That's fascinating. So, Paul, tell me, what would be the most, unique, most bizarre situation you've had to referee?
Well, bizarre. The craziest thing I've ever seen is actually this guy had the audacity of jumping into the baptismal one time. Absolutely crazy. But most of the time you see like minor infractions like, snoozing or illegal use of the hands. I mean, that's mostly what we see. I got a personal snooze on the congregation. That's a 15-minute penalty. Repeat the sermon point. I got illegal use of the hands on the congregation. That's a 15-minute penalty. Repeat the sermon point.
Really? Wow, that's fascinating. So, Paul, can you tell me, if you're a rookie service rep, what could you expect? What would be the most challenging issue that you would face?
Well, Phil, rookies have a lot to expect in their first couple of years. For instance, a pastor assumes that you're on his side, but we're completely neutral as service refs. And the reactions that the pastors have, they could really surprise a rookie ref.
Turn in your Bibles this morning to John chapter 1. But before I begin my message, there are a couple of things that I'd like...
All right, a false start on the pastor. Take 5 minutes off the sermon clock. Restart the sermon.
You kidding me? In fact, that reminds me of a story.
I got an unnecessary illustration on the pastor. That's a 15-minute penalty, loss of sermon point.
So today, in conclusion, we can say that Jesus has called us to be a part of the chain of grace. But there's another thing that Jesus has called us.
I got a false conclusion on the pastor. It's a 5-minute penalty, half the distance to the altar call.
You got to be kidding me! I'm tired of you interrupting my sermon. How am I supposed to preach under these conditions?
Wow, this has been so enlightening. Thank you, Mr. Beardsley, for coming on the show today and giving us your time.
Well, thank you for having me, Phil.
Oh, we appreciate it once again. Well, that about wraps it up for this interview. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
This has been an NSBN Special Report with Philip Stanley.